Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. Now, this video we get to go and talk about something a little bit more special, and this is in regards now to the Nintendo Switch. Now, as you guys do or do not know, there is a brand new Switch that's been lingering for quite some time, and I think one of the bigger things to note is that we are now seeing even more big proof information and everything else over here too when it comes to key launch partners that have now apparently already received the Nintendo Switch Pro or Nintendo Switch 2, most likely like just the next iteration of console. Now, we don't necessarily fully know exactly what it's going to be called because we just haven't seen Nintendo actually announce it yet. So we're going to talk about all this brand new leaked information, just everything kind of cool to get to talk about. So let's do it. Make sure you guys are subscribed, notifications on. Give me all your thoughts and comments down below. Would love to go hear it. Of course, we have the Twitter and Twitch stream as well. If you guys want to hang out and chill down below, and let's dive into the fact that this is so overdue. One of the biggest caveats I've seen with the Nintendo Switch is how poorly the current console is in terms of graphics, in terms of processing, in terms of even storage, and even online capabilities. So hopefully now with these brand new sources for Nintendo, hopefully in the 2024 market, will now, well, maybe make a lot of kids happy, myself included. So Nintendo targets 2024 now with their next gen console. Key partners have development kits ahead of planned launch. So apparently as of right this second, there is a Switch 2, Super Switch, Switch Pro, whatever you guys want to go call it, coming out as of right now, and developers apparently already own some of them as of this second. So key partners have development kits ahead of the planned launch, sources are now telling Video Game Chronicle. So the development kits for Nintendo's next console are now with key partner studios with launch planned as of next year right now in terms of leaks. So according to multiple people with knowledge of Nintendo's next-gen console plans, the company is likely to release new hardware during the second half of 2024 to ensure it has ample stock available on day one and to avoid the kind of shortages seen with the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. Now, to kind of touch on that really quick, I think it's smart. If you guys don't know, Nintendo is going slightly on the lower end hardware side. I think a lot of folks are comparing it to like a PS3, PS4 type side, depending on what you look at or what game you're playing, etc., etc. So in terms of if you want to mass produce all these things, having the certain types of semiconductors and basically all the chips needed, etc., do get a little bit more on the costly side. And obviously some of the higher end demand chips are a little bit harder to go and get. So I think you want to get like an iPhone 15 for the next upcoming iPhone, it is a little bit harder to go and get and receive than anything else. Now, one really big thing to go and note, though, is, well, they kind of want to stockpile out of stock. If you guys remember the PS5 and Xbox, they've been out of stock for many years at that point when they first initially came out. So they just want to have a chance to start making them now if the product's available and all the technology is there. And it would also make sense, too, as well, because it's not like something brand new or cutting edge. It's just like something just a little bit better. So those specific details in the console are being kept closely guarded. Those at VGC spoke and indicate that the next-gen console would be able to be used in portable mode as well, similar to the Nintendo Switch. So in theory, it should be able to be handheld, should be a nice little update, should be good to go. Two sources at VGC spoke to suggested that the console would launch with an LCD screen instead of a more premium OLED, which is kind of a weird thing too because it is currently on the OLED right now for the Switch OLED version, in order to bring down costs, essentially considering the increased storage needed for higher fidelity games. The current Switch comes with just 32 gigabytes of internal memory, which is crazy because as of today, we actually have a 8 terabyte SSD now available for the PlayStation in their new software update. While many current gen PlayStation Xbox games are over 100 gigabytes, the fact that you only have 32 gigs to even have any games at all is ridiculous. So it gotta make sense. They're trying to maybe just make sure like the graphics aren't too insane and they're able to go and, well, first and foremost, make it so you can even play brand new games. So like its predecessor, the Nintendo Switch will also accept physical games via cartridge slot, sources said. Other details, such as backwards capability support for Switch games, physical and digital, remain unclear. As of right this second, they don't fully know. Like if you have a Switch and so you have Animal Crossing or Mario Kart, they don't know if it's going to work or not, at least under the current leaks. We'll probably get more information as more stuff comes out, more leaks come out, etc. But at least as of right now, the bigger thing is that the Switch is actually coming soon. So Nintendo has said it wants to convert as many of Switch's 100+ million user base as possible to its next system. Although some third-party publishers are said to have expressed concern that legacy support for Switch games could negatively affect sales of next-gen titles. Kind of like the same issue of right now at the PlayStation, where some folks may be too hyper-focused on maintaining the PlayStation 4, and it drives up developer cost, maybe it's not necessarily worth it, makes the games lackluster, and that's why even some game companies now are just completely ex-naying the PS4 or Xbox One to focus primarily on the PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X and S, which makes sense. But I think the Switch does have a massive install base that, no offense to Switch people, I'm included in it, are kind of okay with more mediocre games in terms of graphics, resolution, or frames, because they realize it's a Nintendo console, it's the comfy console, they don't necessarily fully mind, or if it's in just in handheld mode. Nintendo did not immediately respond to VGC's request for a comment on the story. Tokyo-based industry consultant Dr. Serkan Toto told VGC that a 2024 console launch would make sense for Nintendo. It also makes sense, too, to kind of compete with the PlayStation 5 Pro, which is also rumored in 2024. Since it's projected to see double-digit declines in Switch hardware and software sales this year after it cleared 7 years in the market. And we have been seeing that being confirmed, that the numbers are and have been going down. And this kind of just crazy to go and see that the Switch is finally losing its steam, but at the same time makes sense. 7 years, good run, not as many new games. The Tears of the Kingdom is probably a good little final send-off. Same with Pikmin 4, so at the same time, I'm okay with that. I would generally say that looking at Nintendo's financials, it seems clear that it's time for a new piece of hardware in 2024. Hardware is already projected to fall 16.5% year-on-year in the current fiscal, while the minuses for software is expected to hit 15.9%. The only way to stop these losses from totally ballooning next fiscal is a new device, and the second half of 2024 sounds like a realistic release window for me, which would make sense to get the initial hype beast of all the folks out there in summertime, or whenever they want to release it, and then they have a few months to get all the stock all situated, and they can adjust on the fly for the holiday season, which is probably going to be one of the biggest earners for Nintendo itself. Reed Pop's head of Games B2B, Christopher Dring, told VGC that a 2024 release would fit in Nintendo's historic trend of launching hardware mid-cycle compared to PlayStation Xbox. So once again, makes sense. It lets people kind of have like a nice 2 to 3 year window of the Switch being the new and shiny thing, which is why I also think a PS5 Pro would also make sense too, so Sony can always kind of be around and trying to counteract all these interactions. The original Switch released over 3 years after the PS4 and Xbox One, and wouldn't you know, it's around the 3-year mark right now for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox. So which also proved to be an effective move for Nintendo. It's kind of like people get used to their PlayStation, their Xbox, and after a certain amount of time, they want to switch to something new. They want to go and be like, oh, I want my next shiny new product. Same thing with phones. Like some people buy them every year, and some people will wait every few years to upgrade, and they may switch off even from Android or iPhone, depending. And it's kind of how it is. Like you have your PlayStation, you enjoy your games, but you might be like, well, I wouldn't mind a brand new Nintendo console, get a new Mario game, or try to work another big piece of games, brand new Smash title, stuff like that would make a lot of sense. But I think in general, in theory, yeah, like I think a 2024 release window seems very it makes sense. They say it argue that unlike 2027 or 2017, Microsoft and Sony's consoles still feel relatively new at the moment, partially due to the component shortages slowing the rollout for the first 2 years. But don't forget, this is also going to be another year from now. So as of right now, it's becoming normalized of having an Xbox or PlayStation. Give another year, it'll be even more normalized at that point. They say, however, the biggest competitor Nintendo faces is itself. Although its core fans are eager for more hardware, myself included, its more family-oriented casual fans will need more convincing. What will the next Mario Kart offer that they're not currently getting from the current one, for example? Nintendo has struggled to upgrade players in previous generations, so think like the old Wii to Wii U. So how about it approaches things like digital libraries? The Nintendo account and even backwards capability may prove crucial, which I'd probably say have all old Switch games able to be played on the current upcoming brand new Switch 2, that'd make a lot of sense. If Nintendo does release the Switch's successor closer to Christmas, Dring said you'd expect a deeper launch lineup than what we saw in the first Switch, would make a lot of sense too. I still think there's been a while since we had a proper Nintendo game that's been blowing people off the water besides Tears of the Kingdom. I'd maybe say a nice, like I said, a Mario game possibly be absolutely fantastic. Maybe even Splatoon 4, because that game has been selling like hotcakes still in Japan. So basically kind of a big thing to go and say. They say in 2017, Nintendo spread out its releases, with a big game arriving almost every month. By the time the holiday period arrived, the firm had Mario, Zelda, Splatoon, and Mario Kart, plus a small number of smaller titles like ARMS and Xenoblade 2 as well. If Nintendo opts for Q4 release next year, I expect the company to have multiple games ready to go for launch. I was trying to say you gave at least 2 different games for 2 different demographics, might be not that bad. They did also want to go and say too that apparently the work on this next upcoming console is apparently be going smoothly, saying development seems to be progressing well. but a product launch won't happen before next spring at the earliest. But it does kind of seem off based the articles and leaks that they are physically on hand. So it does mean that people can now start porting their game files and assets over or start developing brand new Nintendo games, and it's very nice to see that the Nintendo Switch Pro, Super Switch, Switch 2 does seem to be an actual thing that is actually coming out in the near future. So I want to hear your thoughts and comments and all this down below. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch stream as well down below, and I appreciate you guys all so much for watching here. In the first place, we'll talk to you guys tomorrow for some more brand new videos, or swing by the Twitch stream if you guys are bored as of right now.